And so the idea behind this is a lot of us are dealing with life's questions, some big, heavy questions, and our goal is to get that exclamation mark, the answers. And to sort of show you a little bit more about that question mark, I'm going to show you a short video of this man named Guy Goma. Guy Goma is, I forget where he's originally from, but he has applied on a job with the BBC. BBC, for those of you who don't know, is like the British version of, USA Today. And so it's a news outlet in England. He's applied on the job to be an analyst. And so he shows up, he's ready for his interview, and some guy comes barging in the door and says, "Are you Guy?" And he says, "Yes." And he says, "Follow me." So they go off, and they start making a lot of stuff. He's like, "This is the weirdest interview I've ever been to in my entire life." So I don't know who the person was that went and got Guy Goma, but in another room nearby, there's a man named Guy Cody. Guy Cody is an expert in his field in technology and music, and so they have literally the wrong guy. And anyway, so you can see sort of what unfolds here.
Music online. Well, Guy Cuney is the editor of the technology website News.
Good morning.
Were you surprised by this verdict today?
I'm very surprised to see this verdict to come on me, because I was not expecting that. When I came, they told me something else, and I'm coming. We got an interview, so it's a very big surprise anyway.
A big surprise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a big surprise it was. So I paused that short, but he goes on to take this interview until the producer is in the interviewer's ear saying, "Wrong guy, wrong guy." So they move to somebody else. So it's pretty interesting to watch. So I'm not really sure how something like that takes place, how you get the wrong guy and get that far into it without realizing you got the wrong person. But this face is this question mark face. I think a lot of us have worn that face throughout our life. Maybe more recently in the last days, weeks and months. So I think we can all relate to this point. He realizes that I am not the person they need, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. He finds himself stuck in this amazing question mark, realizing that I don't know what to do. This is probably the best visual I can give you for this question mark face. You two fellas, if you don't care to grab that. So, somebody in this room right now, my guess is a lot of us, knows what it's like to live in the question mark. You've got a lot of questions in your life. Some pretty heavy stuff, some light, but questions about your life, questions about relationships, your marriage, your job, your school, and you have this. And you got these big questions. So, and before we get too much further, this isn't focused towards a specific age group. This is young, old. Some of you are members and have been members here at this church for a very long time, and some of you might be the first time you step through a church door. This applies to all of us. We can all relate to this question face Guy Goma is wearing. So let me just ask you, raise your hand if in the past week or month you have lived with a question. Raise your hand. See a lot of hands going up. So all of us can relate to this question mark state. And the point is, we want to try and move from this question mark to this exclamation point. So maybe this exclamation point represents something exciting, something good that's happened, a new job, a new career. Maybe you have been in this long argument maybe with a family member and it's gotten resolved, and it's just some really good stuff. So in the last week or month, how many of y'all have experienced this exclamation mark point? Less hands. And I think that's just sort of the fact of how life goes. There's going to be more question marks than there are exclamation marks. So that presents us with a very unique opportunity and challenge as Christians. The challenge of youth ministry, the challenge of marriage, the challenge of parenting, the challenge of shepherding a church, the challenge of being a teacher, the challenge of reaching out to the neighbors in your community, the challenge is How do we move people from that question mark to the exclamation point? I want us to look at the passage of Scripture from John chapter 20, verses 11 through, sort of small. John chapter 20, verses 11 through 18. So, right now, it says, "Now Mary stood outside the tomb crying. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb and saw two angels in white, seated where Jesus' body had been, one at the head and the other at the foot." Now, this verse 12 paints a detailed picture of what Mary is seeing. And this is sort of a side note from the lesson, but I wonder in that moment if Mary saw this. Two angels where Jesus' tomb, that flat area, was hovering over it. This is the Ark of the Covenant. Something Mary would have been familiar with. Anyway, just something interesting. I don't know. That might be one of those Bible coincidences, or I have no idea. Sort of deep. So, John chapter 20, verse 13 and 14. They asked her, the angels did, "Woman, why are you crying?" "They have taken my Lord away," she said, "and I don't know where they have put him." At this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not realize that it was Jesus. She is living in this deep question right now. Jesus has died 3 days earlier. She's at his tomb, and she's got this question. She's torn apart inside, and she's standing feet away from the exclamation point, Jesus, and doesn't even realize it. Jesus asked her, "Woman, why are you crying? Who is it you are looking for?" Thinking he was the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have put him, and I will get him." And Jesus said to her, "Mary." Mary just asked him the question, and Jesus didn't answer. Jesus didn't give her any more knowledge than from what she had asked. He says her name. She responds with, she turned toward him and cried out in Aramaic, "Rabbi," which means teacher. Jesus said, "Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. Go instead to my brothers and tell them I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God," and the greatest exclamation mark of all time. Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them that he had said these things to her. Mary went from this biggest question to the biggest answer. The biggest question mark to the exclamation point. And I want to challenge you guys and suggest that we can take the same journey today, and even not being there witnessing it, we can. There's two questions that we struggle with that Mary was asked right there. "Woman, why are you crying?" We have some deep stuff that's just tearing our hearts apart. And who is it that you are looking for? Notice Jesus says, "Who is it you are looking for?" It's not, "What are you looking for?" Implying that the answer is a who. Jesus. Mary's answer after Jesus said her name was, "I have seen the Lord." So how do we get people from this question mark and get them to the exclamation point? You guys, thank you very much for your help. You can sit down. We see in Scripture, Peter says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." We are warned here. Peter has dealt with these question marks in his life, and he has presented throughout many of his books and writings, and the other apostles have presented exclamation marks for us, the answers. But sometimes we don't always see them. So Peter's presented us sort of with this question, this confusing thing. So you give us this information, what do I do now? Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that the family of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kind of sufferings. And the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. To him be the power forever and ever. Amen. So the Bible is full of writers and authors and eyewitnesses saying, we've lived in these question marks, here's the exclamation marks, hoping that we learn from it today. Even though we have these many examples, a lot of times it doesn't take the first time. right? A lot of times it takes us learning for ourselves, or having many meetings with somebody who's more knowledgeable in the thing we got a question mark about to help us get to that point. That's the point I want to make here. People don't always believe something the first time they hear it. And people come to us with their question marks, and we talk to them and speak truth to them. They don't always believe us the first time. They don't always understand that what we're saying is true. And these people are going to continue to ask that same question to us again. And we got to be willing to be patient and answer to them those answers. They'll keep asking their question, and we'll keep answering. And eventually they'll be able to overcome their question, and they'll start to believe the answers. Luke, if you don't care, come up here. You'll take a seat in this little chair. I don't know how well you guys can see. Luke, thanks in advance for volunteering. So sit down in this little chair. I want this chair to the right to represent the question mark. Luke, if you don't care to go ahead and lay down, I'll help you adjust these chairs perfectly. So put your bottom in the middle of this chair, lay back on this one. Got it. Raise it just a little bit. Yep. All right. Okay. Now, Luke here is going to represent any one of us in this room. We've got our head in the questions, right? And we want our feet to stay firm in the answers, exclamation mark. Luke, what I want you to do now is I want you to stay right like you are, and I'm going to remove this middle chair. Okay? Ready? Stay put. Get over quick. So, like I said, I asked Luke to help me out. Didn't quite tell him what he was doing. He asked, and I said, "You're going to be doing an exercise for me." And he said, "What exercise?" Like a core exercise. I said, "Okay." I told you the truth. So, this isn't easy, is it, Luke? No, it's not. I bet you wish you hadn't volunteered now. Good sport. So, Luke, what's going to happen next?